Hey indie game fans! I think that PAX is still the best convention for indie games, and while the 2020 edition is taking place at a little bit of an odd time, there are still a ton of great indie games playable. I will briefly go through some of the titles that I've covered recently and spend more time on the new ones, so presenting the top 40 best indie games from PAX East 2020, starting with Alchemic Cutie. This slime-wrenching simulator is simply adorable, from the bright visuals to the cute character designs. Not so much of a focus on farming per se, as per Stardew Valley, but foraging for ingredients to be used in your alchemy is a feature as well. Another take on the farming sim is Goddard Story, where you play as a newly appointed village guardian and have to protect it from the rot. This adds in action-adventure elements and combat, but it's still a story about cultivating and restoring the gardens on the island. Pleasing to the eyes as well, with a very pleasant colour scheme. Going Under was covered recently in the video on upcoming roguelike titles, and has you playing as an unpaid intern, delving into the dungeons to repossess assets of failed startups. All of the recovered assets go back to the company and you get paid in experience, so a cheeky commentary on startup culture. Also love the fact that you use random office junk as weapons. Knuckle Sandwich is a meta RPG that perhaps would draw comparisons to Earthbound, but there appears to be quite a range of art styles, minigames and systems in this. Looks very unique and super weird, but should be quite an enjoyable title.
Probably asking yourself, gee, I don't know anything about moving. I'm just a big dum-dum. Well, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3.
Moving Out is a zany co-op action game that has you playing as movers, transporting furniture from one place to the next. Some very strong overcooked vibes in this, supporting 1 to 4 players, but the sheer variety and creativity of the scenarios is one to look out for. This certainly has a sense of humor and could be their next big breakout multiplayer hit.
The big city, outer space, a promotion to middle management. Moving Out is moving out this April.
Neon Abyss is a dubstep roguelite action platformer with some nice pixel art and neon colours, and has you running and gunning your way into the abyss. The highlight has to be the unlimited item synergies, giving you that overpowered feeling, but the number of floating companions that can tag along looks fun as well. Raji, an Ancient Epic, is a stunningly beautiful action-adventure title set in ancient India, where you play as a young girl that has been chosen by the gods to stand against a demonic invasion. Action, lighting and particle effects look great, with hints of Prince of Persia in this as well, but I'm curious about the overall structure and progression, if any. A roguelike platformer where you play as the Phoenix Knight, Renane looks wonderfully old school and looks to capture some of the same magic as Rogue Legacy.
Victory's where I'm headed. When I fail, I'm like, forget it. I ain't really wanna watch sweat it.
While you can beat the end boss right from the start of the game, there are progression and upgrades from run to run, and as one of my favorite genres, this should hit the spot for me.
Point me in the direction of the path to the top and watch me trek it.
Speaking of co-op experiences, Rogue Heroes Ruins of Tasos supports up to 4 players and has you exploring procedurally generated dungeons, but also has a village building aspect. There's farming, fishing, and swimming as well, and I love all of these elements in games, so to see a game have all of these is pretty exciting for me. One of the standout features of She Dreams Elsewhere is the art style, which looks very much like classic Japanese RPGs. This is set in the mind of a woman in a coma, so expect surreal elements and perhaps the literal battling of inner demons in your head. Big fan of classic JRPGs, so this looks to be added to a collection of indie games that manage to evoke that feel. The heartwarming and cozy feeling Spiritfarer should be another highlight of the year, where you guide your animal companions into the afterlife. You can upgrade the rooms and facilities on your ferry, fish, forage for resources on islands, cook, weave and craft, which seems like quite the nice amount of variety. Saying goodbye can be difficult, but this seems like quite the emotional experience, which will be sure to tug at your heartstrings. When the Survivalists was revealed, I was on board since you are trapped on a desert island and must find ways to survive. However, as the trailer shows, you can even train monkeys to do your bidding, so it should be quite the fun colony simulator. The main highlight of Welcome to Elk has to be the bright and cartoony art style, but this is set on an island like no other, with a cast of weird and wonderful characters. Apparently these are all based on real stories, where humor, love and death all go hand in hand. And this even comes with commentary and videos of these original people who decided to share their stories. If you think that tactics games are too full of guns and swords, then Wintermoth Tactics Club might be of interest. This is set in a preppy high school named the Wintermoth Academy, where the whole school erupts into a snowball tournament. Some visual novel inspired gameplay as well, and it does seem like Supergiant's Pyre, but with a different combat system. And of course, enough has been said about Star Renegades at this point, but still very much looking forward to this. Drake Hollow is the next title from developer The Molasses Flood, who also made the excellent The Flame and the Flood, and as a base building action-adventure game where you have to build up your fort with a bunch of plant creatures and have to defend it against evil-looking shadow monsters. It self-describes as an action village builder, so count me in for this. The sequel to the very stylish rhythm action game, Clang 2, like its prequel, is quite an interesting blend of rhythm game and action platformer. While the first title straight up has platformer sections, what is shown off for this trailer seems to be self-contained arenas with button prompts that look very mobile game-like, so I'm not quite sure how I feel on that. The tracks are semi-procedurally generated, so some variety there, with the high score chase and getting the best ranking being the main reasons to replay. Super stylish and cool, and seems pretty neat.
My life wasn't always like this. I used to be powerful, desired, beloved. Before that, I was just another girl from the country. In love, I followed a boy's promises to Paris, and I was abandoned. I could have run home, but I chose to stay, to live for myself and seek my own passions without him.
I have to admit that visual novels are not usually my thing, but since Ambition, a Minuet in Power looks this good, it was the first step to get me hooked. Furthermore, it self-describes as a roguelite visual novel, which is certainly something new and got me intrigued. Set around the time of the French Revolution, play as an ambitious young lady who was abandoned by her fiancé and must do whatever it takes to seize love, wealth, and power. As strange as this sounds, there are procedurally generated parties where you must collect the latest gossip and use your visitors as stepping stones to higher society. Gorgeous art and should be quite the curiosity in game design.
And quickly, I whispered in the ears of the most powerful. Sweet nothings that would become commands. A revolution was brewing. I needed to end up with the right people on the right side, or I would die on the wrong one. But I made a single false step. Yet my story didn't have to end like this. It could have been so much more.
Add another one to the action roguelite pile with Gone Viral, where you fight for your life in a prison arena to entertain a bloodthirsty audience. There are self-described pinball-like mechanics, since hitting enemies into other enemies or walls will cause extra damage, but it looks fast, frantic, and a whole lot of fun. I showcased Greek Memories of Azure last year and just wanted to highlight it again since this is a beautiful puzzle action platformer where you play as 3 siblings trying to escape the invasion of their land. For some reason, 3 seems to be the magic number when it comes to games like this, which is similar to The Lost Vikings in style, since different characters have different abilities and must use these in conjunction with one another to get through the level. Beautiful hand-drawn art as well, with impressive designs and animations. Hey guys, if you can, do support me on Patreon, since I'm currently trying to upgrade my microphone and to reinvest in the channel. You do also get access to a members only Discord channel, so thank you all for the support. Sometimes Always Monsters is the follow-up to Always Sometimes Monsters, so a little bit confusing on the title. This is a narrative adventure game where you tour the country on a cross-country bus as a newlywed author, meeting fans and signing books while trying to combat some vicious rumors that are being spread about you. This allows you to import your save from the first game, which was released in 2014, so it has been a while, so maybe get on that first.
Do you have those moments that stick out in your mind? When I was a kid, I was told you are what you do, so choose wisely. I could be an astronaut, a CEO, a painter, a doctor. I could be anything. Hi, I'm supposed to achieve great things. Unfortunately for me, you are also your mistakes. And turns out they tend to remember those more. Hi, I'm a disappointment.
The Red Lantern is a self-described roguelite resource management narrative game where you and a team of 5 sled dogs make your way through the Alaskan wilderness. One part FTL and one part The Long Dark. This sure seems like an interesting game since you need to do things like get enough food for your dogs or even to fend off bears. However, the roguelite nature of this seems weird since I think that you are playing as a specific character, so if you die in the cold, how is that consistent?
However, things tend to go to plan right up until they don't.
"2014's Door Kickers was very well received as a real-time tactics game that put you in charge of a SWAT team as they breached doors and took out hostiles. This was followed up by the side-scrolling platformer Door Kickers Action Squad, but finally, Door Kickers 2 Task Force North gives fans of the original what they want. Rather than a SWAT team, you play as a team of special ops soldiers taking down a terrorist organization in the Middle East with impressive looking combat. Another one on the visual novel pile is Comatose, a great looking one of these that takes place in a nightmare that you find yourself in after a fall that should have ended your life. There are amnesiac strangers with you as well, and you will get to know them and experience their personal stories through the course of the game. Inspired by games like Persona and Catherine, the art style is well done and this looks pretty good. I do love the occasional arcade experience, and Radical Rabbit Stew looks to scratch that itch. While bunnies are supposed to be adorable, in this game they have a nasty bite to them. There are also multiple modes from a single player, almost puzzle adventure style, to more action elements in the boss fight and even local multiplayer, all with quite the beautiful pixel art style. If you love stylish pixel art action platformers, keep an eye on Infinite Beyond the Mind. You have the option of two main characters who need to take down the evil Queen of the Kingdom, who has plans for world domination. The run and gun action does remind me just a little bit of Metal Slug, though I don't know what the unique hook or gimmick is, if there even is one. Another long-anticipated title of mine is The Iron Oath, a pixel art turn-based tactical RPG where you traverse the world with a band of mercenaries in search for fame and fortune as you build up the legacy of your guild. There are 9 regions and 50 hubs to visit, where the world changes dynamically in accordance to the decisions that you make. Characters have personality traits that will evolve as well, and they will age, retire, or die in combat, so some aspect of Darkest Dungeon as well. Pixel art looks on point, so hopefully 2020 will be the year. When I first saw Sonship, of course Factorial immediately came to mind. An idle simulation title where you build production lines, it looks much more simplified and for good reason since it is mobile only at the moment, but I love this type of game, so I'm looking forward to it. The animated trailer for Kung Fu Kickball doesn't exactly show off the gameplay, but as it might suggest, this is a competitive sports game that mixes martial arts and soccer. It is a side-on 2D platformer, so think a platform fighter but with the main objective of hitting the opponent team's bell with the ball. 3 characters, 6 levels, and support for 1v1 or 2v2 modes are planned, and seems pretty neat. Indonesian developer Mojikan Studios made the beautiful Chi and the Lightbearer, and the next title is When the Past Was Around. The trademark is the absolutely beautiful art and visuals, and the game seems like a poignant tale of love, moving on and letting go. A classically designed point-and-click adventure game with dialogue and puzzles, the combination of art and music just makes this seem so pleasant. Time travel in games can be quite a neat, mind-bending mechanic, and one of the upcoming titles to utilize this is Yestermorrow, which is a great name. This has you playing as a young hero trying to repair a mysterious clockwork tower in order to save a family and to change the fate of the world. This looks fantastic, but I'm curious about the setup. Another one on the adorable pile is Bake and Strich, a very clever play on words, which is a local multiplayer co-op or PvP game. The island is filled with strange and cute doe creatures which need to be sacrificed to the guardian of Doe. These creatures can be combined to form larger ones which will net you more points, with the expected power-ups to be used to give you the advantage. The competitive local multiplayer should be chaotic fun, but I'm curious to see the depth of this, especially if there's just one type of doe creature. Speaking of adorable, Kiwi absolutely nails that concept since you and a friend play as a pair of kiwi birds running a post office and have to jump, pack, flap and stomp on various buttons and levers in order to make sure that the packages get delivered on time. Things like typing out words and messages and having to simultaneously press 2 levers at the same time look like they may require quite a bit of coordination, but it really looks like fun with a friend. Man, the variety of indie games in terms of their art sure is varied, but the big con knocks it out of the park. An exploration adventure game set in 90s America, play as a teenager skipping out on band camp in order to con her way across America and to raise enough money to save her family's video store from loan sharks. There are stealth elements where you wear disguises and sneak around, pickpocketing characters and breaking into shops, and you can even rip people off in conversations as well. The cartoony art style is very pretty, with a unique concept and looks like fun.
Its own place, and in itself can create a heaven of hell, or a hell of heaven.
This one was covered a little while back, so here we are again with a fallen angel. Play as Lucifer, battling your way through a twisted version of heaven, consuming the power of the archangels, and to ultimately face the creator. This is a pixel art action-adventure title, but as mentioned in other videos, the lack of outlines for the characters doesn't make it pop as much. Regardless, some nice art in this, and hopefully this will be along the lines of something like Hyper Light Drifter.
God makes no mistakes.
Since Animal Crossing is out next month, one of the cozy indie life sim games to look forward to is Rolling Hills Make Sushi, Make Friends. Set up a sushi restaurant in the village and assume the role of a sushi chef where the proceeds earned can be used to improve the town. Looks like a pleasant gameplay loop with anthropomorphic animal neighbours as well. You guys know my love for pixel art games, and one that I'm excited to share is There Is No Light. Set in a grim dark world blending apocalyptic and religious themes, battle your way through demons or become the herald of the destruction of the world in this action roguelite. Simply looks awesome, reminding me a little bit of Sea Salt from last year, so curious to see more. Developer Rose City Games gets a coveted double feature in this video with the recently announced Floppy Knights, which is a turn-based tactics game with deck building elements. the bionic arm that our protagonist has can transform floppy disks into tangible units named Floppy Knights, used to do battle to earn some cash and perhaps save the world. If the art looks familiar, this has the same talented artist as Dicey Dungeons, but combining another two of my favourite genres makes this a must-play for me. Another title which I've been shouting from the rooftops is Rainbow Billy: The Curse of the Leviathan. This is a monster taming action-adventure RPG where you play as Billy and need to restore colour to the world. While not the most original idea, this has monster taming aspects, fishing, platforming, and of course, the 1930s cartoon art style like Steamboat really, so yes, yes, yes and yes. Monster taming games are a favourite of mine as well, so looks like this title is coming along nicely. Recently revealed as well is 30XX, the follow-up to 20XX, which are both Mega Man inspired roguelite action platformers. However, the sequel now has a distinct pixel art style that looks awesome, has two different player characters and also supports co-op. If the first game is anything to go by, this should be excellent, taking the #1 spot. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, share and subscribe. Check out the recommended playlist or the best pick for you, and I will see you after the jump.